Good morning.
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 Morning. I'm still on my song of the summer search. I don't know that I found it yet. Uh, but if anybody has any suggestions, I'm all ears. How are you guys? Allie, say something. You're our
Good.
co-host.
Very good.
All right, there you
All
go.
is good. A lot
All
of
right.
crazy things in those articles.
Oh yeah, of course. Let's
What
hit
a
the
day.
numbers first. Let's hit the numbers first. All right. Okay. So Fulton County. Let's jump down here to our spreadsheet. So, active inventory. So, before we jump through the numbers, remember we're coming off a holiday weekend. So, was the holiday weekend busy or was it slow, guys? I got a thumbs down from Michelle. Somebody talk to me. Was it
No,
busy or
generally
slow?
slow.
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 Always.
Okay. So,
Slow.
did people take one day off or did they take 3 days off? Let's see. Active inventory, Fulton County 501. It looks like 132 properties went under contract in the last 7 days. So that actually was an increase from the 7 days previously. So maybe they did all that in 4 days versus seven. I don't think so. So this looks like we had a little bit of a pickup, but if you look in Fulton County, the last 3 weeks were slower than the 3 weeks prior to that in properties going under contract. So maybe there's a little bit of a slowdown of properties going under contract. We have 223 pending. We had some bigger weeks previously, so it certainly looks like it's softened just a little bit in Fulton County. And then the end of the month closing number, 295, right? So big number, but not as big as we were seeing the month before. So maybe softened just a little bit. But if I'm looking at our offices, most of our offices had a bigger May than they did in April. So maybe our agents are better than the market. We'll see. Um,
Obvious.
obviously,
Obviously.
um, 81 expireds. So if you go back, end of April, there were 217 expireds, and end of March, there were 217 expireds. And 81 at the end of May is not that big of a number for expired listings. So I don't know if it was everything was selling or people weren't writing their listing agreements to expire at the end of May, but there's certainly a downtrend in expired listings at the end of the month in Fulton County. Just something to notate. If I jump to DeKalb County, we had increase in active inventory. We were in the low 300s 3 week or 3 weeks ago. We had a lower number last week, and we went up in active inventory in DeKalb County. Um, 71 went under contract, which was a little bit down. So maybe there was a disruption of the holiday weekend in DeKalb County for going under contract. 163 pending is pretty strong, not as strong, but still pretty strong. They had 193 close out at the end of the month. And if I'm looking over at that expired number, kind of not that big of a number for the end of the month, which is interesting. Uh, and then let's round out with Cobb County here. Cobb County had an increase in active inventory to 354. There were a couple weeks they were in the high 300s, one over 400, down last week, but up this week. 354 is pretty healthy, knowing that there was a 3 day weekend in there. 96 uh AI says fail a falling streak. So maybe it's softening a little bit. in Cobb County, but nothing to write home about. Still pretty strong. I like it when it's six over 100 in Cobb County, but I'll take 96. Pendings dropped a little bit to 174, which is normal at the end of the month because we close them. They had 255, which was a big number in Cobb County for closings in the last 7 days. If you go back to the month prior, it was 188. You go back to the month prior to that, it was 180. 255 is really strong for Cobb County end of the month closings and low expired listing number. So what do you see? What do you think? Matt, what's your opinion?
Yeah, I think this kind of shows us, Brett, that we did have a holiday. It may have slowed it down a little, but people are still buying and selling real estate, and opportunity is there no matter all these articles we're about to see. It's happening.
Yeah. Any other thoughts, guys? Are you feeling it? We're not,
Negative
Michelle.
headlines open have more clicks, so I don't think articles saying people are still buying and selling, we're gonna be all right is gonna be like a great headline. So hence the negative amount of news, as always, you know.
Yeah, of course. All right. Any other thoughts before we move on from the numbers?
I think it's a good time to call your database over the next quarter, the next 90 days because of the activity. It's a good time to connect with them because it seems like it's flowing and it's going to be easy conversations.
Yeah, I think you're saying 90 days. I'm actually going to say the next 60 days are going to pop. I think the people that have kind of been hesitating are going to make their move in the next 60 days. I think June and July are going to be big months of movement in the real estate market. And I think you, as a real estate professional, the next 60 days are going to be crucial for you to hit your goal in 2026. Like, we got to be on fire on prospecting and marketing and doing the activities in the next 60 days because you realize historically the market will slow down come September and it'll start to taper down as the year gets closer to the end of the year. And then there's holidays. So if you're tracking your goals, the next 60 days are going to be crucial for you to be really pushing.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. So, first interesting article, CoStar, which is the parent company to Homes.com, which we've talked, Homes.com. Some people are feeling really good at Homes.com. Some people don't feel like it's a great investment. And CoStar is having board of director disruption in the sense that they're arguing over whether or not Homes.com is a great investment or not. We've talked about that on this call. However, they just spent $800 million buying this platform called Zonda. Full disclosure, I had never heard of Zonda until this article. But apparently, Zonda is a platform that collects new home data. And new home data in CoStar or Homes.com is an interesting play to go invest $800 million. Just FYI. I mean, it looks like they're doubling down on Homes.com. It looks as if they're pushing for new construction data. Um, that's really all I have to say about it. It's just a fascinating play that CoStar would be making. Does that make sense? All right. Second thing, I'm going to do my best to explain this. So, Robert Refkin, who's the CEO, president of Compass, has been making some disruption in our marketplace. And there is a push we've talked about around having a national MLS. So there's three MLSs that uh, are being disruptors. One is MRED in Chicago. The second one is Real Tracks in Nashville, Tennessee, which is not far from us. And the third one is Bright MLS in the Northeast, which is a very large MLS. So a week or so ago, the Chicago MLS cut the Zillow feed from the MLS. And literally overnight, there were zero listings on Zillow. And then Zillow sued the MLS and got a temporary injunction to get the listing feed back from the MLS to Zillow. So the listings are now back on Zillow. However, there's pending litigation. Well, the second MLS, which is Nashville, is now saying they're going to cut the Zillow feed. And it's going to be uh, a hot mess. Do I think FMLS is going to cut a Zillow feed? I don't. I don't think this disrupts our world today. Um, and I think it's going to be lawsuit, 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 play out in court, get your popcorn. However, um, it's industry news, and I just want you to be aware. It's kind of fascinating that the MLSs are, uh, I believe Robert Refkin's in the ear of the MLS that are being disruptors and they're cutting these listing feeds. What do you think? Have you read this? Any opinions?
I read this like 2 times and I'm like, what does this mean? So I went to ChatGPT to start asking, like, does this affect us? And obviously, I learned that our MLS, even though it's Georgia, that is not affected by this, which was
Today
a
it's not.
sigh of
Today it's
relief.
not.
Yeah, but I went to Zillow and I'm like, are the properties still on there? And then what they said was essentially it's the property, like the inventory will still be on there, the existing inventory, but it's the new inventory where the feeds would be cut off.
They're
But it
on
was
Zillow
just,
in Chicago right now.
yeah. Well, it was just 2 days, right? And then they got it turned back on.
So I have a Brett, I have a client and I coach in Tennessee, and their Real Tracks was just affected by this come June 1st. And it's a Keller Williams office, and they have there are ways, and we know of ways that if it did come to us, that we can sign agreements to make them populated.
Correct. That we'll get our listing back on Zillow. But if you look on Nashville right now, there are a lot of listings on Zillow.
Yep. And they have their brokerages just have to sign independent agreements. So,
Yeah. So I don't think it's totally disruptive. It's just um, something going on in the industry, and that's what this call's about, is keeping y'all informed of what's going on in the industry. Make
yep.
sense? All right. This article on RIS Media says U.S. home sales not rebounding despite modest market improvements. Here's what I will say about this article. Um, most recessionary periods last for 18 months. We are now in our fourth year of home sales being down historically. And I'll come on this call at the beginning of every year with some feeling of optimism. And it felt like this year, actually, last year felt like it was going to recover, and it didn't. And then this year, we were certain it was going to recover. And then the geopolitical stuff with oil and Iran happened. And it doesn't look like 2026 is going to be a big rebound of home sales. However, there is a talking point inside of this that I think is really important. Uh, Inventory has become a big deal. And there's an article on Housing Wire that says inventory just turned negative year over year, meaning our inventory is not growing, it's shrinking. And um, I just want to go out into like a coaching conversation that says we know listings drive the market and we know listings drive agents' business. And I also have had many conversations with agents recently that said listings are tough right now. So if there's an agent that is hesitating going hard at listings, that's a mistake. Inventory is going to be the name of the game going forward. And if you can push really hard into taking more and new listings, you're going to control your future. And if you're buyer heavy, there may be a moment in time where there's not enough inventory for you to sell. If inventory continues to slow down, which part of that is new construction, the builders are not putting a lot of new inventory on the ground right now. And we're also not listing as many houses right now. And we need to push more listings because I know that's the name of the game for succeeding at a high level in real estate. Does that make sense? I'm going to shut up and hear your opinions.
Brett, I've been a little conflicted. I had an inquiry, past client said, we're thinking of selling this rental. Um, they bought it, kept it as a rental with the intent of relocating back to Atlanta and moving into it. And they relocated and they moved elsewhere, and now considering the rental. So I gave them kind of a analysis of the market, the micro market, the neighborhood, et cetera, and had to really fight not to say, hey, it's a bad time to list your house. It's like um, uh, sales volume is down, prices are not growing. I felt conflicted in some of the analysis that I was spouting and had felt like I had to moderate it a little bit so as not to be Debbie Downer in terms of go ahead and list your house. Let's get it on the market.
Well, here's the thoughts around this, Keith, is I think that's a very real experience, right? Like you have a lead, you're doing an analysis of a property. Is now a good time to sell your house? What do y'all
And I,
think?
and I think the answer to that is your motivation, your issue. Why are you wanting to sell? It's not so much the market itself. It's like, what are your circumstances? And, um, that's the real answer. But at the same time, if their circumstances are that they could just as easily go ahead and rent it again for another year, do I want to direct them that way? I'd rather, of course, direct them to list it.
Absolutely. I think motivation is the real answer. And two, I could make a case that price appreciation is going to be a little soft for the next year or so. And their opportunity of listing now is going to be great because inventory's down, buyer demand is up, and those buyers are very motivated to in the marketplace right now. So I would make a strong case to list properties right now.
Yeah, I agree too. And definitely that came up in our back and forth discussion, the fact that, hey, you've already enjoyed the majority of the appreciation that's going to occur, at least in the next next few years. We're not going to have much greater appreciation than we've already achieved.
Well, that's the thing is if I list my house today versus a year from now, I'm not going to realize a big enough gain on price appreciation a year from now to actually wait to list. I might as well take that opportunity today. Make sense? All right. This one's fascinating to me. So I I actually had to go back and fact check myself. 25 years ago, the Google search came out. And by golly, that page has not changed in 25 years. It's a blank white page with a little search bar. And the only thing that changes on it is the artistic creation of the word Google. However, Google is now saying it's changing it 25 years later. And the biggest change to search in 25 years is already starting to roll out. Um, they're saying the biggest overhaul to search since the product launched, a move away from ranked website links and toward a conversational AI driven experience powered by Gemini. So I pulled up, all right. So if I go to Google, it looks the same today. But if I say homes for sale, Atlanta, Georgia, and I hit go, it still is the ranked websites, the pay per clicks, and then the 25-year version of Google, right? So I've had conversations with agents recently that are still doing a great book of business with Google pay per click because of this. However, if I type homes for sale, Atlanta, Georgia, and I don't hit enter and I click this new button that says AI mode, it's very different now. So this is a uh new AI infused, and you've probably seen it on your Google searches as well, right? That Google is starting to change into an AI mode, and they've added this button instead of just hitting enter. This is enter, this is AI mode, and it certainly looks like it's driving the consumer here. So, all that to say, wherever my article was, um, marketing may change in the near future more towards an AI plan versus a pay per click plan. Thoughts? Who's anybody on here playing the pay per click game? Nobody. All right. Anybody on here playing the AI game? Not yet. It's an awareness thing. It's going to be the game of the future. We've known that, but we're starting like um Google was the Goliath in the online search world. And if Google is starting to change, so will the consumer. Make sense?
Brett, one of the things from the article that gave me, I guess, a little inspiration to take action was one of the things they said you can do that'll directly feed into AI is Google, when you put your business into Google and get reviews and all of that. And at
Hmm.
least from a leadership standpoint, right, we have a Google page and people may be asking, what brokerage should I join? And we have like, 4 reviews and they're all angry people who, once worked with an agent 10 years ago that they didn't like, who's no longer here, etc. So that's at least one easy thing that I'll be taking action on.
Yeah, and as a real estate agent, not all real estate agents have even set up their Google business profile. One, that's step one. Step two, you're not going to win if you don't have reviews. And that's an age-old thing in real estate, but still agents today aren't playing the Google business reviews like they should be.
Yeah, Brett, I just went on there and searched top real estate agents in Atlanta, similar search to you. And when you do
Share
that,
your screen.
it brings up a AI type. Hold on. So I asked it, it goes into like a chat GPT Gemini type phase, right? When you do that, right? So it brings up, we've got people on here. Wonderful. I asked after that, how do you come up with these names? And it's pulling from ARA,
Real trend.
transaction sides closed from real trends, but then it goes into public consumer reviews. And that's how it's gathering rankings.
From platforms like Zillow, Yelp, and Google, I guarantee you.
Yay, Anna. Woo.
So there you go. My whole thing around this was if you know people are looking it up, you can now ask it how it's coming up with these rankings. And then I
Perfect.
could go on to ask how do I improve myself in these rankings, and it'll tell you how to do that.
All right. I missed an article somewhere. Dun, dun, dun.
The first time home buyer one.
Okay, hold on, I'll get it. I didn't have it opened. Oh, Allie, you're in iPhone jail, so
Yep.
it's not on my computer. That's why. Tell everybody why you're in iPhone jail.
Oh, because I sent out 600 text messages in like 5 days.
And so, what did Apple do?
Oh, they put me in iPhone jail. They shut down my iMessage, which is like kind of a lengthy process to get back in their good graces.
Which is crazy. All right, let's just
Was
Yeah.
it
forget it.
was it for the sheer quantity, Allie, or was it for
Because apparently one of the things that you read in all those things that you click through, one of the policies for iMessage is not to be using it for business, aka you cannot send out to people you don't already know. So I was doing it for recruiting, and I guess enough, even though I said an opt out, like, hey, text me stop or whatever if you don't want me to contact you again. Yeah, I got reported, I guess, by quite enough people. So you can't use that for business. Use a third party.
All right, last article. High prices are pushing home buyers to consider drastic steps. I laugh at this because it's saying a TD Bank survey found 74% of first home buyers would use a 50-year mortgage. More than half of first time plan to spend up to 35% of their income on mortgage payments. And Americans over 70 own 26% of residential real estate wealth as of late 2025. Here's the another stat inside of this. It says if it was available, 78% of millennials and 74% of Gen Zers would use their 401k plans to help purchase a home if it was allowed. Um, First time home buyers' desire and motivation to buy remains strong. So I'm asking myself this question. Are we not doing enough to help first time home buyers solve the problem? Are we educating them, helping them connect the dots, and doing seminars? Because I believe that they're motivated. I believe there is demand for people to buy their first home. They just don't know how to do it, and they believe that they can't. And as a real estate professional, could you make it a thing to be a first time homebuyer specialist? Could you make it a thing to be an advocate for first time homebuyers and pick up a big chunk of business here? Because I think that just like with most people, if you connect them with a lending professional, I was talking to a group of agents in Midtown on Saturday about this. Like 9 times out of 10, just putting them with a professional that can give them a plan causes them to buy real estate. But outside of getting them with a professional that puts together a plan, they're going to get caught in their own head and feel like they can't do it. And you're the advocate in between that two conversations. That makes sense. What do y'all think of this?
Brett,
Do
are
you
you
believe?
thinking of
Yeah,
a
go ahead.
financial advisor, a wealth advisor?
No, I'm talking about a mortgage loan officer.
Oh,
That's the first thing I do. I have some preferred people that I like to work
Yeah.
with for first-time buyers. Um, I am not a mortgage expert, nor do I pretend to play one on TV. I hand off the ball, they run with it. They make recommendations for not only my first-time buyers, but only also seasoned sellers that want to reposition themselves and expand their portfolios. So we have options there. Absolutely, first point of contact for me is with a mortgage person that can help them understand what their options are, period. I'm not going to waste my time with people unless I know where they stand, what their purchasing power is.
Yeah. I thank you that for that, Michelle. The If you think about the first time home buyer, multiple market offer environment we had 4 or 5 years ago, uh, priced them out like they couldn't afford. Then we've had big years of price appreciation. So the buying power changed. But there is a chunk of people that are motivated to buy their first house that don't know how to do it. And this article is speaking directly to that. As real estate professionals, how do you get your messaging and how do you get in front of them? Because all you got to do is get in front of them and help them connect dots, and you will sell a house. But we're waiting on them to call us. And I think you need to proactively create some messaging and you need to proactively maybe do some seminars. You need to proactively get to them and help them connect the dots. Make sense?
Mhm.
All right, guys, go list a house is the message of the moment.
See
Have a
ya.
good one.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.